Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is Tuesday, May 12th, and we're over here just kind of floating around. So friendly reminder, where I had left off last week was earlier in the week I had crafted this guy, the plasma mixer. I took the controller out of here just because, I don't know. I know they can't blow up from rain, but it's just one of those things. Just always end up doing that or protecting them from rain. But the other thing I did was fully upgrade the beam line. Since then, I've done a few things because the whole goal I'm working towards is getting this plasma mixer to work. And the reason I can't get it to work currently is because of needing wireless power. Now, obviously, I have it like this, so you probably guess I don't currently have wireless power yet. But I've been doing a lot to work towards it, and we'll kind of get into that. So I upgraded the beam line to just make things more efficient. I was using the Americonium wafer instead of the photonically enhanced, so it was like double as a tier skip for us, and they're as good as they can be. The only thing I can do now is paralyze these if I need to, if it starts getting slow, which at the moment they are fine, but I'm sure eventually we'll need to do that. And then from there, I also set up, I believe it is not this floor, I set up this little thing. It's not, there's really not a lot going on here, but essentially what we got going on is, oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. I set that up for diamonds because I've been critically short on diamonds. It's this floor. I set up this Mega LCR and these couple multi-blocks here. These are specifically here for cerium doped exquisite cerium doped luteum aluminum garnet. Basically the reason I want these is because these guys are used, I don't know why it doesn't show the gem up over here. Let's just do exquisite cerium. Nope. Crystal SOC. Let's do this way. Beamline. Right here for this recipe. Because as you see over here, before we needed to craft crystal processing units, and then we only got 4. So we had an additional crafting step to get to this point. And everything that went into that. Not that it's too crazy, but it is crafting something. And then this guy, not only do I have this on passive over here, gets us, would that be 16 times more? So quite a good upgrade, and didn't take too long to set up. I won't go through the whole line, but essentially all you need is a chemical reactor, electrolyzer, and then this guy is just here, so I could technically like import it elsewhere, but those are outputting what all gets. You need to basically, as one of the steps, you need to run through an EBF carbon and oxalate dust, and the carbon is actually the thing that is eliminating this currently. And then the very last step is over here, running through the mixer, which it looks like I've gone through all my cerium anyways, so I'll have to also look into that just to make sure something doesn't come and bite me in the butt later. But I believe we get cerium from ores, if I remember correctly. Cerium dust. No, I get it through the dehydrator. So there's some stuff I'll need to look into for the future to make sure this is all running right. So I did that. And then, so to get to the wireless network, so on our goal to here for like actually pushing forward in progress, I looked it up. All we need to do is craft some UHV capacitors. This guy, and then throw them in our main LCR, and then boom, once they're full of power, we get wireless. Now, that is simpler said than done. So I will say, when you're looking at the recipe for this really ultimate battery, and then specifically the ultimate battery in there, really ultimate battery, we need these energy clusters, which in turn need these energy modules. I had moved this over to the space elevator, specifically the assembler one, to craft. However, I forgot about this fine hydrogen thing, Because when I'm only crafting a few of these, that's not a big deal. But I had this recipe running, and then I realized the amount of time it was going to take for Hypogen was literally going to take like something like 3 days before I would finally have it, if I remember the math right. Now, you can speed up the Hypogen by like a little bit of overclocking, I think, and then you can also just paralyze. I decided to instead just move that recipe back to assembly line, though I did build a second plasma forge. Now the thing is though, is this doesn't help with Hypogen because you need infinity coils for the Hypogen, and I threw this one out of Draconium specifically so I could like spread out some of the recipes and they weren't conflicting with each other. Like over here mainly I have the quantum anomalies and the cosmic neutronium, as well as this dimensionally shifted superfluid. This is all crafted over here. And then over here, Tesseracts and Hypogen are, just because they have the infinity coils. Now, infinity I'm still decently short on, so I didn't want to craft a second set of these. Ideally, at some point here, relatively soon, I'll swap these coils out with Hypogen ones. But the Hypogen coils, the thing that's actually holding them back, besides obviously Hypogen itself, which I am... as you can see, I'm gaining on here because I am using that to craft Nequata 5 as well. So it's cool to see that number actually finally growing, but it might mean I need to check out the Nequata line. Is this coil block also needs a UEV circuit. So I need 2,000 UEV circuits, which I only have 900 of. So the next thing, I was like, okay, I really need to speed up circuits. So from there, I came over and I started mass spamming circuit assemblies. I had cleared this area out previously, but I hadn't set it up. So we got going on down here, and I will say I'm also aware this is not like optimal for wall sharing. I just like the way this looks, and I don't really care if I have to use more space later. This side is everything for crystal circuits. And then I'm realizing now I've actually forgot to do something. So this is everything from the processor to the supercomputer. Technically the mainframe's still in its old one, and I should build a assembly line over here, or more. I can't remember if that mainframe is circuit assembler or assembly line, but I should also finish the line out. I forgot all about that. So this side is crystal mainframes. This stuff and over is optical. And then this guy, who's not hooked up via laser, is pico circuits, which will be our first UMV circuits. Which actually, do we have one crafted? Nice. So we did get to the point that we can craft UMV circuits, which is cool. Just unlock that craft right there, or unlock that right there. But all of these are the first level of optical circuit. And then for the moment, I just have a single assembly line being overclocked with lasers. I also didn't realize you could only, like, these could actually be steel casings. I thought every one of these had to be energy hatches, so I was a little confused. I was going to run with lasers. And then I just realized I had misunderstood how this multi-block formed this whole time. But yeah, that's basically what I've been working on. This will probably be a shorter video because there's not really anything new or like a process I did. I've just been working on speeding up. But like I said, so this was all in service of crafting those capacitors. And if we actually look in my inventory, actually I have 7 of them right here. Because when I went to craft the capacitors, it's like, okay, I'll craft 9 like I normally do for the super Lapatronic batteries. There is a fundamental problem with that though. So I threw these guys in. And the reality of the situation is this shows and looks like it's empty. Like, oh no, I'm running out of power. No, more power in here than I ever have had. It's just that even with a single UHV capacitor, this thing, the capacity is so much more enormous than it used to be, that even running NAC 5 fuel down here is currently showing it's going to take a year to fill up. And this guy, I believe, has to get above 90% for me to have access to the wireless EU. As you see, it even shows us on the GUI now that there's a wireless network, but it's got 0 EU. So I really need to up my power game, and I don't think spamming NAC5 fuel reactors is really where it's at for doing that, because each one is roughly like 17 million or billion EU per tick. For this to sustain and for me to actually practically use that plasma mixer, I'm assuming I'll need to go a lot faster than this. This was not an issue I was expecting, so that's why I moved it out to 1, because I wanted to see how long one capacitor was going to take to fill. And like, this thing's so big that the extra capacity from all these guys up here is kind of a moot point. But I don't mind having them in there. It really doesn't make a big difference on the grand scheme of this. So what I am working towards currently is the Dyson swarms. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this. I'll probably end right here. But this is what my plan is for the week, is to try to craft one of these guys and set it up, as well as look into some form of teleportation, which I always find funny, just because the whole goal of the pack is the Stargate, which is to teleport. But from what I've read, the Dyson thing is best used on Horus, I believe. I think it gets a huge bonus there. So I'm going to have to look into teleportation, just for a matter of convenience, because I don't want to have to fly the mothership back and forth to get there. I think there's a Thaumcraft solution to that I'll look into. But yeah, this will be the goal for the week. I don't know if I'll have videos every day, but I definitely will have at least one more this week, just depending on how much progress I make. I think for the next like month and a half, unfortunately, just because a couple things at work are taking up more of my time, and that's where I do a majority of my playing, funnily enough, just because I'm lucky enough to have a lot of free time there. So I will definitely have another video this week with my progress, preferably after I get the Dyson swarm. I think I'm not too far away. The Pico circuits was the main thing I could tell that was going to hold me back. And actually, let's see. If I try to craft it right now, what's it going to tell me? Unless any of these recipes are crazy. So these are the Pico circuits. I just haven't set up the forming press recipe up here. I'll have to look into these 3 things. Hopefully not too crazy. I can't imagine this thing's very crazy, but I don't know what is up with these. Both of them, one says creative, one of them says tier 3, so I feel like there might be a little bit of digging into this, and that might catch me by surprise. But yeah, that's what I'm going to work on, and that's what I've been working on. So appreciate you for watching. I hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you at some point this week. Goodbye.